Hello everybody, Jordan here. The PH is silent. I got a few responses to my Waterdeep video asking why I didn't include anything on Undermountain. Undermountain is a huge dungeon below Waterdeep with a well-known entrance being in the Yawning Portal. And to answer your question, I just didn't really think about it, but after researching Undermountain, I felt it deserved its own video. So today we will be talking about Halaster, the Mad Mage, and Undermountain. Let's start off with Undermountain itself. Mithril ore was discovered beneath Mount Waterdeep, which I assume at the time it wasn't called Mount Waterdeep, maybe it was, in negative 1288 DR by a Dwarven king named King Meliar, and he created a home for his tribe and they began carving out tunnels and caverns to mine the ore. But just like Moria, the dwarves dug too deep. It opened areas for Drow and Duergar to come in and battle the dwarves. The dwarves were pushed even further out by Netherese wizards in negative 750 DR who wished to occupy parts of Undermountain. Soon after that, the Drow moved in and occupied much of the remaining tunnels. The dwarves fought to protect their home, but by 168 DR, the famous wizard Halaster Blackcloak claimed Undermountain as his own and ousted the remaining dwarves from the mine. Halaster was an interesting fellow, becoming obsessed with the Far Realm, aberrations, and much of the Outer Plane. Some say he was a Netherese wizard, others say he was from the Mascari Empire, traveling from the faraway lands of Zakara or even further. We don't know for sure, but it was in 168 DR that he came to Mount Waterdeep with 7 apprentices and created a set of wizard towers. He created a single tower for himself, and around that he built 7 other towers in circular fashion for his apprentices. It was a good life for the 7, but Halaster began a quick descent into madness, probably from communing with the Far Realm one too many times. Halaster used fell creatures from distant planes for construction of his towers, and rather than dismissing them when the job was done, he would send them tunneling below his wizard's tower to expand and explore. Eventually he broke into Undermountain and summoned more creatures to push out the Drow and Duergar, to then take Undermountain for himself. The Duergar eventually left once the Mithril was all mined out, and Halaster used dark magic to trap the souls of the remaining Drow, enslaving their minds. He used them to continue tunneling deeper into Undermountain. His actions became an unexplainable obsession. By 309 DR, Halaster had complete control over the near endless tunnels and caverns, and began constructing a deadly dungeon. A year went by, and the 7 apprentices had not seen their master, so they decided to check up on him. They descended into the mountain only to find traps and horrible creatures to contend with. Halaster killed 2 of them with Undermountain and demanded the remaining 5 help fortify his dungeon. 1 escaped, but the remaining 4 wove their magic into the dungeon as well. This is the story behind Undermountain, which really is a funhouse dungeon for players. Much like White Plume Mountain is a large dungeon filled with random puzzles, traps, and monsters. Halaster and his apprentices continued to pull creatures from other planes to populate his dungeon. Halaster said his goal was to protect his secrets and treasure. Flash forward, and the City of Waterdeep has been created on top of Undermountain. Undermountain was known to settlers of Waterdeep fairly early. They would banish criminals there, sending them into the depths to never return. Eventually, an adventurer named Jorphdan went into Undermountain, and the unthinkable happened. He returned. He returned with great riches too, and many tales to tell. He used his money to build an inn above the entrance of Undermountain and called it the Yawning Portal. This became its staple, the giant well that dives into Undermountain in the center of the inn. Jorphdan works there today, or at least he did in D&D 3.5, serving patrons and inviting adventurers to try their hand at Undermountain. Halaster hasn't been sighted in recent years. It was 1375 an earthquake rocked both Waterdeep and Undermountain. Many believe the cataclysm killed Halaster before the spell plague occurred. If that is true, it is also believed that his ghost haunts Undermountain in some capacity. The spell plague drastically altered the landscape of the dungeon, cutting off portals that lead to certain areas and opening up new unexplored ones. There is a city that lives in Undermountain, Skullport. Skullport's history dates back to the Netherese Empire, who settled in an area known as Skullport's Cavern. They created magical wards to protect their settlement, which were all destroyed during Karsus' Folly in negative 339 DR. 13 mages were absorbed by the wild magic of the mythal and turned into disembodied skulls. By 1148 DR, the residents of Skullport obtained permission from Halaster to settle in a section of Undermountain, the 3rd level of Undermountain specifically. Skullport became a prosperous trading post in the Underdark. The spell plague caused great destruction in Skullport, and most of the inhabitants left but returned soon after when Mithril was discovered nearby. It's become a hub for criminal organizations, home to the famous Xanathar, who is on the cover of Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Now, the Xanathar is a beholder that runs a thieves' guild in Skullport. Several beholders have held the title of the Xanathar, controlling the guild over the years. He has typical beholder paranoia, but somehow manages to oversee a pretty elaborate criminal organization, keeping it busy and profitable. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that like button as it super helps out the channel, and share this video with your gaming group. Will you be headed into Undermountain? There is a 3.5 and 4th edition module that explores the mega dungeon. If anything, I'm sure you can borrow some rooms for a future dungeon. References to this video in the doobly-doo, and I will see you all next Wednesday.